a chair, take your cup on the road, anywhere you want to go. Not just the morning commute. This is Improvised Life. This is Josh.
This is Tammy.
And this is Jen.
Hi.
We've got Jen with us today.
Yay!
And we're very excited to have Jen with us today.
Because I'm awesome.
She is awesome.
I think because she's awesome, we actually did that right for the first time ever.
I did it exactly, well, not exactly the same way I've always done it. It's all been adapted.
But now I've caught on to you. And that's what counts.
Whose fault's that?
You want the answer to that?
No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I don't.
There's video evidence. They can decide.
Right.
So what are we doing?
Today, we are with you. Well, tonight. It's a tonight while we're taping. Should I not tell them that?
I don't think they care.
No, okay. Anyway, I think they will like these connections. I think they will like these connections. What do you think, Jen?
No.
I think they will like these.
Tell them why we're here.
I'm getting there. Yes.
Oh, no, I'm with her. That's the problem. You're in trouble.
Oh my gosh.
I could tell them why we're here.
I'm telling you why we're here. We are going to talk about, so you're seeing this right around the time of New Year's, give or take a day or two. New Year's is the time of the year when we look back at what's gone on before, and we're making resolutions. Do you have any resolutions in the? We're making resolutions.
You didn't ask me.
Are you making a resolution?
No.
Right. Some of us do. I'm sure you do make resolutions, and we're looking out into the future.
Do you make any resolutions?
No, not really.
Well, thanks.
It's good having you.
It's still a thought process.
Right.
It is.
It is
something that people do.
A starting over point, especially if you are not one of the unfortunate souls who's currently in some form of education.
Yeah.
New Year's is generally the point at which people do a little bit of reflection.
Yeah. And so...
We've had a big year.
Yeah. I wanted to come on and, we started out this thing and we kind of hit the high points of who the Gambol was and where we're going. It was really short, like that, maybe like 10, 15 minutes in that podcast. I don't know.
Yes, and I mean, it was not the focus of the podcast.
Right.
So we never really went deep into it.
You want to know why? You want to know why?
Why?
Why is
because
that?
I thought of this.
Yeah.
This podcast right here. And New Year's for you and tying it all in because that's a big deal for everybody out there. You know?
It is a universal thing.
It is a universal thing. It is what is one of those things that sort of connects us and is a bridge for us. So I thought we would talk about the where we came from in Gambol and in the Renaissance Fair world and where we think we're going to go, where we hope we're going to go. And as such, I asked Jen to come on and help us out a little bit with this one because Jen, along with my daughter who is not here and the other daughter as well who is not here and a couple others were here at the beginning. So Jen was here at the beginning.
I was here before the beginning.
It's true.
Ooh.
It's true.
It's true. So what do you remember about the beginning?
Of the Gambol.
Yeah.
Right? So...
Maybe I'll back us up a little bit after I hear where your beginning is.
Yeah. My beginning was the year before the Gambol went live. It was during fair season, and I actually remember, those of you that have been to the Kentucky Renaissance Fair site, there's the big cross there. Incidentally, that's the place my husband and I got married. Like, it's kind of the town center. It's a big deal. And there's a bench, and I was sitting there, and I'd had a hard year. And this is, I think, an important thing to recognize sometimes, that you can do something that you absolutely love. And some days are rough. They just are, because we're human. It's not always going to be perfect. And I'd had a hard day and a hard season. And you came up to me, and we were kind of yakking, because that's Lord knows what we do best.
Yeah.
Hours and hours. Always.
There was like a 3-hour steak and shake at one time. 4 hours. That's another story.
Anyway, but you had come up, it was towards the end of the season, you told me that you had this idea to start kind of a dance group. And dancing is something that, since I moved to Kentucky in 2011, has been a big part of my life, and I didn't see that stopping. And two, it was one of the things I loved about, at that time, the Kentucky Renaissance Fair, was sometimes we would have patron interaction dances, and that you wanted to bring that to life. And I believe my words were, I will follow you wherever you want to go.
This is why I'm the responder, because I don't know this, because I'm asking the question. It's when you said before the Gambol went live, did you have like a secret Gambol? Like you were the group before you were actually pitched the ideal to
so we were
be
both,
official?
That's a good question.
We were both on the Briarwood Players, which was the original primary cast on site. And within a few years...
I'm going to interrupt just for a second. Back before there was a fairy cast and a Roma cast and everything else, it was just the Briarwood Players. Right. That's where it began at the Kentucky Ren Fair. Right.
So at this stage, there was the Players, and we had both been a part of that, as was both of my daughters, and was that the only ones? You and me and...
That's it.
Yeah.
Because everybody else
was new.
Was new, yeah.
Had been part of the Players. But there were also the fairy cast at that point was already there, and the Rama cast was already there, and I believe the Minions were already there too. Yeah. So the Gambol was the youngest guild cast on site. Right. And that's been 5 years now. So
we've closed out five seasons at the Kentucky Ren Fair. So Josh, Tammy and I have pretty much been thick as thieves since the day we met, and we had worked together on the Briarwood Players, and in that capacity she was above me because you were one of the assistant directors on that cast. And then we'd also been dancing together. And then I also came with a little bit of experience before Kentucky Fair. So just there is a pretty solid beginning. And then we're both dancers, so... So
did you lead dances just as what you were before there was a Gambol?
Oh, I see your question.
The maypole happened.
Or like patron dances.
But patron dances didn't happen. I don't recall.
There was a couple of...
We had a patron that came in and would lead
kind
dances.
of a friend of the fair.
But as far as the cast-led patron dances...
Outside of the maypole, no. But we saw the potential there. And there was a very real potential there.
Because by that time, there were already a whole lot of you who were bringing your children and young adults and adults on your own right to the maypole to participate with me. And I appreciate that and love you for that because the energy that you brought before the Gambol was even formed was part of what inspired us, I think.
So we're coming up on like the holidays and Christmas. What is it? Kids from 1 to 92.
Oh. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Do you just hit a switch to where you're Christmas, where it's like, and then it's like, I'm Christmas music now.
Actually, yes. And this is something that I'm still learning about myself, and I find it fascinating because we were just talking about this tonight. I absolutely go through seasons throughout the year. And I think the more times you do that, the more ingrained it becomes. And I think, and that's part of why I mentioned the calendar year starting over for people that are not in education, because really the year begins in education in August. And that's still, even though I've been out of college for several years now, that's still that's my New Year is usually right around that fall time. But I generally think of this time of year, because we've been doing the fair for so many years, I think of this kind of time of year as my nap time. And you all will be viewing this closer to the beginning of the year, the actual first. And that's right around when I start thinking about Ren Fair, and I start listening to that Ren Fair music and the stuff that really kind of gets me jazzed. But I won't listen to Christmas music until like at the earliest Thanksgiving, because if not, I don't want to hate it by the time it's over.
Right.
And I will. Andrew asked me last night if we wanted to do a Christmas music thing this year to sing at the camera.
I loved that last year.
Yeah, we did it the year before too. I don't know, what are we gonna sing? I don't know. It's not that simple. It's not that simple. We're good at it because we are very careful what songs we pick. That's part of it. But yes, I definitely have seasons. I don't do the Christmas in July stuff. That's not my thing. Yeah. I can't.
No, I don't either. I've got kids' birthdays in the middle of the year. Anyway. It doesn't happen.
Well, yeah, and then so it's Halloween. And Halloween, as far as I'm concerned, deserves at least 9 weeks. At least 9 weeks. Halloween. And then
Halloween is 2 months for me,
Yeah.
For you do that.
Hey,
I
get serious about costumes. And it's my birthday. It's Andrew's birthday.
It's my birthday too.
It's a thing, right? It's a thing. And then there's Thanksgiving, and then there's the holidays. And the holidays are pretty, a week before Thanksgiving all the way through the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. I don't have time to think about this stuff.
It's true.
It's time to make cookies.
Yes. And smell vanilla, and cloves, and cinnamon.
Yeah. Make clove oranges. I'm going to make... This won't air until the beginning of the year. I'm going to make candied orange peel. A lot of it, I think. I made some last year, and I wasn't very happy with the recipe.
I got some of that last year.
It was really crunchy. I'm going to make the chewy stuff this year.
So how'd the Gambol...
This is Josh's other job to keep me
okay. Good. So I told you where I remember the Gambol starting.
Yeah.
Yes. And... maybe not surprisingly, I remember at the same exact moment. And
surely you had been thinking about it before, though. Or was it just a nebulous idea at that point?
It was very nebulous. It was, I have this toolkit. I have this thing.
You see that she has nebulous ideals, and you put words to it as how the dynamic between you two work.
Translator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's basically how it started. Uh-huh. She had to get you to be like, what am I thinking?
Yes.
And yes.
What was it? Gambler Ember said, "You're the charismatic leader, I'm the instrumental leader."
Yeah.
Which sounds way cooler. Instrumental leader. I'm an instrumental leader.
Charismatic.
What was she describing when she said that now? A cult.
John.
Yes.
I have not sacrificed a goat in over a year. Thank you very much.
We don't sacrifice anything, but maybe
we make that joke.
Our dignity and our scary, our vulnerabilities.
Yes.
We sacrifice those, and we sacrifice certainly time.
All good things that you could sacrifice at the beginning of the year.
Absolutely.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just tying it all in.
I usually sacrifice brain cells at the very beginning of the year. That's why.
The thing that I've been thinking about recently is fear is... Oh, shoot. What is it? There's a specific verbiage.
Fear's the mind killer.
That one?
Yes.
The spice must flow. No, fear is useless and temporary.
Okay.
And that's kind of the current little back of my mind driving force right now. Fear is useless and temporary. Yeah. So if I have a resolution, that's probably as close as I get.
Yeah. And
just what am I going to attack this year? Though last year I did make the resolution to buy more things locally. I got a little bit too happy on Amazon.com, and I wanted to start buying more local things. And I have discovered several local shops that I am in love with.
Yeah.
And I will make the extra effort to go there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
It can be done.
It can be done. Resolutions can be done. At that point in time with the Gambol, there was the resolve in my head. Yes, that moment on the bench was pretty much the pivotal moment where I'm like, okay.
So you had a follower.
That's all I needed.
We're not a cult.
We're not a cult. But that's really all I needed. Everything else was resolve. It was, I want to make sure that dancing continues, keeps going, and we need a dedicated group of people who can do this for the public.
Well, and two, because of the nature of group dancing, it's very difficult, and I am extraordinarily thankful every day for the numbers that we have, but it can be done with one person or two people or 5 people or 10 or whatever. It's a very flexible number. Right. And so once you had one person, it becomes a real thing.
Yeah.
And two, it's also validating to have somebody else turn to you and be like, that is a great idea.
It was absolutely validating because, and maybe I haven't told you this enough, but I had Perrin with me, but she was my kid.
She was
my
like
child.
What, 17 at
and
that time?
she grew up in fair, knowing, so we didn't even share a brain space. She was just my brain.
Meaning that they had very similar thoughts at all times that didn't require any explanation.
Right.
But
then, and so I knew she was coming along for the ride. I knew that she was going to be there. But then, you said, I'm going wherever you go. Yeah. And it was like, okay.
Yeah.
I can do this.
Yeah.
We can do this.
That's 3 people right there.
Yeah.
Plus Moira, who was a tiny child.
Yeah. Moira was, 5 years ago, 8. Moira was 8. Yeah. At the time.
Okay.
I raised them in the fair. It was really validating and really, and maybe that's another point. If you're going to do a resolution, if you're going to move off into something new, something that you want to develop, make sure you have, people that you can turn to and just have some words of confidence from, because it's going to mean all the world to you. And what it meant for the Gambol was 5 years, and that's at Kentucky. And we've got a whole entire future ahead of us outside of Kentucky. So it'll mean the world. You got to get those people behind you. Anyway, that was just teary, sort of. I'm not going to
suck it back in. There it is. The other thing too that I think what made it work is that you started early enough and you planned, and there was a clear deadline. I'm a deadline worker. I need to have it on the calendar. If it's not on the calendar, it's never going to happen. And you knew, because you had until the following fair season to get something up and running. And that's enough time, and you've got somebody backing you.
Absolutely.
Several people.
That was like at the end of one fair season. It was a whole year.
Well, 6 months.
Right.
I mean, realistically.
Because
planning starts in
January.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's a question. When did you go to, say, the fair management and say, we want to do this thing? Was that the year, at the end of the year, and you just start planning it for the next year, and then you were just going to be that next year when you started?
I went to Ed Frederick's
And they incidentally own a new restaurant now, so check it out next time you're in town.
Highlands.
It's either called the Highlander or Highlanders.
Yeah.
Highlanders like Scribers.
Yeah, Scribers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I went to him at the Halloween event that they have there.
So season had ended, and then there's the Halloween event after.
Season had ended.
Because there's Celtic Fest in between, and they have to, we always try to take into consideration what the other person has going on when we want to propose something.
Right.
So.
And we arranged to have a meeting in December, I believe it was, or like November. It was because it had to have been before Dickens. Because I was in Dickens that year.
I was saying, was Dickens going on at that time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. And I gave him a proposal. Here's a couple of things that I can do, but I need to move and do something different. Here are some options. And the new cast, the Gambol, was one of those options. And so pretty much in that meeting, he was like, yeah, do it.
So, thus coming back that next season, you were just at start the Gambol.
Hit the ground running in January.
And of course, as soon as that becomes official, let the other appropriate people know, such as the director of the Briarwood Players at that time.
Right.
Let her know. I know you had your own conversation with her. I did too. It's just kind of a heads up, like, hey, I know you're already aware that this group exists. I'm going to be joining them just so you're aware,
Yeah.
The same way that you, frankly, leave any other place of employment. You look them in the eye, shake their hand, say, it's been great working with you, and try to keep everything as good as you can.
And I want to point out here, too, that that whole, it's pretty much, it's the way that management at Fair has worked for me, and rolling it into the Gambol as well. And I did this with the cast director at the Players there too. It was, and this was before you, so it was me looking to her and going, okay, I feel like you're setting me up for something here. And she was setting me up to take on a leadership position in that cast. And it's exactly what I've tried to do for you guys, is give you a heads up when I'm thinking about pulling you on as assistant director.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to surprise somebody. Yeah. You want to give them all of the available information.
Right.
Going into this, so that they can make a thoughtful decision and not just a decision that's based on emotion and, oh yes, I want to do this.
And so what you're talking about specifically is the decision to come on as a management person in specifically the Gambol capacity, but really in any capacity.
Yeah.
When somebody's kind of grooming you for that role, it's the way you've always approached it, and the way it was approached with you was to kind of give them all of the tools and resources they could possibly want, so that way they know what they're getting into.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think that's what?
Yes, because I'm guessing what you've done in the past was you set them up like a year. You're an apprentice type deal. Mm-hmm. You watch you don't have to, but watch what you're doing so you know what we're asking you to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And yes.
And there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. And that's something, too, we've always, I think, approached the Gambol with, this is what we know, let us give it to you in capacities that are going to be reasonably comfortable. There's in any position anywhere. I'm a nurse. That's what I do in my day job. There's lots and lots that my patients don't know about, because I don't want them to worry about X, Y, or Z until it's appropriate for them to do so. Mm-hmm. I always share as much information as I have with my patients, but I also don't give them more than is appropriate for them. And so that's what I think you and we have tried to do with the Gambol, in terms of being open and giving them all the tools and resources at all times. At the same time, moving into a management position where potentially you start to see all of them behind the scenes work that goes on. Mm-hmm. And those numbers add up very quickly. Right. Frankly. In other words, it's always more work than you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
And everything.
Yeah. In other words, we set them up for success.
Well, and then thusly those people that start seeing this actually respect what you two do, because then they see it.
And you
more.
too.
Well, that too. I mean, there was a day or two when you weren't there, so Jen was leading the charge on that. And this is not anything against her, but she maybe forgot a thing, because she was focused on what you were doing. And then I realized, it's like, oh, maybe I should remind her like she reminds you. And there was something I did like, and I was like, oh, I guess I did good because I reminded you of a thing.
I don't even remember what it was, but I have
You said, why do I have this money? I said, was it because of this? You said, yes. It was just the math.
Yeah.
And it's just because you've done it a million times, and I'm thinking, well, she's reminded her of this. Mm-hmm. Why does she? Oh, because she's focused on her part.
Yeah.
And
I have to step in and do somebody else's job.
There's so many working wheels there. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then I realized what it was that we needed help on. Because
why you have
it's a
an
big
assistant
thing.
director.
Yes.
Let's get into that in a minute. Break time.
Oh.
Tina says we have to take a break in the middle because she needs to go and refill her teacup.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is that how that
Tina
works?
is the reason we do this. Take your teacup break now, Tina.
Just calling her out. Hey.
Calling her. Well, I'm not calling her out. I'm just saying, you can do this now.
She's not wrong.
Because you're going to know all this information anyway. If you are just joining us, we are the Gaelic Gambol, and we operate through Improv-A-Tea on Facebook page, and we also have the Gaelic Gambol public page there. You can also find us on Patreon. If you're only hearing this podcast, you're missing out on all of this video. Give them a mug. Not that mug. This mug. Oh. You're missing out on all of the faces and what they do. What we do. So if you want in on the video portion, don't read ahead.
I'm not reading ahead. I'm writing.
She's making notes.
I'm writing. I was gonna write a joke,
do it,
but I can't.
Do it.
I've used all of them.
All right. Well, think about it.
Okay.
I'll continue on.
Okay.
So for $3 a month, for as little as $3 a month, you can join us on Patreon for the video portion of this, and for some other things. If you bump your subscription up a little bit, you can get your very own personalized picture drawn by this guy here, because he's very good, and you will want one of those. And some one-on-one time with me and messaging and that sort of thing. And we'll be adding some other, what are those called? Bonuses. I don't even know what they're called.
Incentives.
Incentives. That's the one. Thanks. We'll be adding some incentives as we go, as we hear from you what you want from us, and we'll see if we can't manage to get those out to you and that sort of thing. So let us know and join us there on Patreon and be a part of the community and help get this what we do out there into the world, to the communities and the groups that need to be reminded that they're good at this stuff if they just kind of practice it and employ the skills that they've been equipped with all their life. In addition, one more thing. You are watching this or listening to this right up on the very last minute, your very last opportunity to plan to join us for auditions. January 12th is a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
I think so.
And that is our audition day. If you want to be a part of this, the Gambol, and you do. Get in touch with one of us, me, him, her. It doesn't matter who, really. Just get in touch with us, and we'll make sure that you are equipped for everything you need for the audition and to just wow us and find your own spot.
I have a joke for the people that have been awesome and paid for this video version. Okay, so I'm gonna see if this works.
She's gonna get up close.
Come on, yep. We'll see if this works here.
Oh, it does!
Can you read that? I don't know if they can read that.
Probably. Sure they can.
Okay. Probably.
Good. All right. And you will get the punchline to the joke a little later.
See, that's very clever. I was going to go into another thing. Why, if you're listening to this, why do you need to see this? Because we did do a podcast on communication, basically, and we were talking about how only a percentage of it was... And when you're texting, it's a very low percentage of it. And when you're only hearing of it, you're only hearing another part of it. When you're seeing us interact and roll our eyes at Tammy all day long. You're missing it because the reactions are kind of the best.
They really are.
Well, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Facebook and social media. It's so bad for you, but I love it. I just do. I love it when I get a like on something. Like, I absolutely fall into that category.
I really have to fight that addiction.
I know. It is an addiction.
Why?
It's the lie.
Why? I have to fight this addiction, but I love coffee.
But the opposite...
Turn the right way.
You know what? I am not left-handed. I am not left-handed.
But this is kind of the antidote to that. This is in-person, real communication. And, I mean, watching communication between three people that have been working together for years. It's why you don't just listen to, Ian McClellan or Sir Patrick Stewart. You watch them and listen to them at the same time.
Absolutely.
So, and then you get to support us.
Right.
Hooray.
Didn't we have a discussion about Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart? Yes, we did.
We did.
We
did.
Yes.
Oh.
Because Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart are phenomenal.
Yeah.
And just watching them is kind of an amazing
Just
thing.
watching the
and
Be
it's
Friends.
kind of like a whole lot of this sort of thing that builds up amongst us when we work together for a while. You too.
Oh, thanks. I'm here too. Thanks. No, you're absolutely correct. Because even when we play around on Facebook, this group, and you couldn't even explain it on here. Like the way we text and back and forth is just things that people don't usually do. There's just a dynamic that you cannot
It's
manufacture.
Not an inside joke. Yeah. I got your inside joke. It's not an inside joke per se, but it's like there's a whole lot that goes on.
It's just an inside understanding. How about that?
Right, and we do this on Facebook comments back and forth too. So start a conversation on the Gambol page or Improvised Life, and we're going to get on there and we're going to start doing this. So you can just bet on that.
And the thing is, there are people that would absolutely fall in and do it easily. They just don't know they do it.
Right. Yeah.
There's someone I work with who just plays the story game with me, and I'm like, she does not understand how good she is at this, because she's just like, I don't know, you do this all the time, and no, you do that too.
You're doing it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What else we got on this card?
Getting it back, pulling it back. What happened to your job, Josh?
She's here. I can take a break.
Oh. He's defaulting to you.
Oh, trust me, I feel this.
What
did I say? This is supposed to be nap time for me. I am here because I love you all. What's the next thing on your list?
I'm getting there. Let me see.
She doesn't even know.
Go ahead.
The thing is, I try not to look at these lists, but the other part of it is I wish I knew where it was so I could help her back onto it.
I'm back.
Yeah, I feel
so. I tried to be the response to it, but I would also like to help you a little bit better where you're
Is
at.
this all the time we have left?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Wow.
I mean, it'll only be about 8:15 at that point, but yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Right.
Anyway, what's next?
So I don't know that we're going to complete this.
Yeah.
But that's okay. He and I will continue on.
Okay.
In a second episode, maybe, if he's up for it. I don't know. Anyway, back to. So we talked about the group splitting and the idea that you set your people up for success to take over, to continue on, to move on. So when you're thinking about what it is that you want to do for the new year, these resolutions that you've got going on, plan in that success for what you're seeing, and take the steps to provide success for yourself. It's not just somebody else that can help you do that. You can plan for your own success.
Set yourself up to win, basically, you're saying.
Right. Yeah.
If you want to say diet, do the research. Look ahead. Make a small plan.
Make
tiny
goals.
Yeah.
Tiny goals instead of huge goals.
Yeah.
I think these are all great resolution sorts of things, and things that we've done too. We have within the cast. We have tiny goals that we. I mean, don't you think we have tiny goals?
I'm pretty sure you have a lofty goal and many tiny goals to get there.
Yes.
Because you are a lofty goal person, and that's the way you work, and that's
you are
great.
Absolutely an idealist as well.
And
you are,
and you need to be, and
yes, that's what makes
not wrong.
That's what makes you a good director,
yes.
Because you have to have that vision. And I was actually just talking about you earlier today. In that the reason the Gambol looks the way it does, because I am an instrumental leader, meaning I am a doer. And that's actually something Andrew has said to me before. And I didn't even know this about myself, but he was being so supportive. He's like, Jen, you get stuff done. He's like, not everybody does that. Right. But the reason the Gambol looks the way it does is because of your vision. You're the one that has shaped it, and you have to have a vision. For a group like this, a direction to go in. Yeah. But the thing is we can all do that for our lives. I'm looking at going back to school. I'm waffling on it because I need a goal. I need the vision, and I don't have the vision. Mm-hmm. I have the step, but the step without the vision is meaningless.
Right. Yeah.
And vice versa. I mean, I think we said that. I mean, if you don't have a way to get there, then what's it mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why the two of you are together good as a dynamic. And you always have. It's just...
Yeah. This past season was our last at Kentucky, and we had a dance that we put on, a staged dance that we've never done these sorts of things before.
Maybe tell them what's the difference between that and like what we normally do.
Okay, so what we usually do, for those of you who haven't joined us there before, what we usually do are set dances that are determined. They have a series of path that they go down, a series of steps that you follow, and I or Jen or Josh, looking at the camera, Jen or Josh would lead that sort of thing, tell the dancers what dance it is, what step they're doing, and it fits with the music, that sort of a deal.
So you can teach people on the fly.
Right.
People that don't otherwise dance can do this.
The maypole is just really a free-for-all sort of a deal for us. But this particular dance was more of a dramatic piece. It was more of a theater dance.
Theater.
Something closer to what you might see on a stage.
Right. And this gets to another point. This was something that I had experience in from not fair, but from an entirely different portion of my life outside of fair. And this is another thing that you need to remember when you're doing these long-range goals and these resolutions and stuff, is to work all of this past experience in. Don't leave it behind. It's valuable stuff, and you can work it into what's coming in the future. So what I did, I turned to these folks that have graciously said, yeah, I want to be with you. I want to do this cast thing, this Gambol thing. And said, okay, this is what I've done before. It was a deer dance. It was very thematic. And they had horns, deer horns and everything. And there was hunters and everything was grand. Very dramatic music in the background and all of that sort of stuff. And when we had our photographer come and take pictures, she had smoke bombs going off and everything. It was great.
Erin takes pictures.
Erin takes pictures. Shout out. But I come to them with this idea, and of course I wanted to do this, which gets back to your point, for several years, a lot of years. So it's just kind of been sitting there in the back of my head, twirling around. And this year was going to be the last year we're at Kentucky. So I'm like, okay, it's this year or never. Get this out there. And they're looking at me like, I don't think we can do this.
Like she had grown a second head. So far outside of what the Gambol has done in the past.
But to their credit, they picked it up and they did it, and they did it so well. We had so many people that were watching, and just because they're from different backgrounds themselves, they had things that they were connecting with in this dance. Some of our pagan friends and that sort of thing connected to that for entirely different reasons.
And also,
some of our
the
Christian
first
friends.
time in this capacity, there was a direction. Like you direct a very different way. You direct the way the Gambol works, the way the improv does. This was a direction. You need to fill this. You need to do this. You are this. And I mean, it got us, your direction.
It was completely new to all of us because I've never directed this dance before. I've only participated in it. So it was completely new for all of us. And I think just, if anything, just encourage you to go out and take what you've learned before and translate it into something else, because you can do it. Mm-hmm. You can do it again for entirely new audiences who will connect to you, and it's the connection that's really going to make a difference in everybody's life, sort of a deal. And thanks for the encouragement on the direction thing, because that's,
I'm a lot like Jen. I know what, needs to be done, but like tonight, as I was bringing food over, I need you to tell me things. Like, I will get something done, but I just need to know where to go. Mm-hmm.
So there's this thing, I'm not really good at telling people what to do. I don't know why I'm a director. I just am.
But somehow you know where we need to be. And that's how we get that out of you.
Yeah.
And it somehow works. And it halfway kills Jen half the time, it looks like.
Let me tell you, I could not do it. I could not do it without the entire group who has voluntarily given me every bit of their enthusiasm and their dedication to what it is. I will put something out and they will go, okay, I'll try this. And they try it, and it might take us 2 or 3 times to grow it. Mm-hmm. But that's a big thing in this agile interacting thing, this improv thing, and it's the big thing in life. It's going to take, you're not going to be perfect starting out. You're not going to have it all together starting out. It's a matter of getting better as you progress. There's a blinking thing on the camera.
There has been.
Oh, I hope it's not a problem. That's just an aside.
Oh, hey, good timing.
Yeah.
I'll go check it out while I'm here.
The answer.
I think the camera's charging.
That's good then.
Backwards. I don't know if you can read this. I hope you can read this.
Uh-oh.
Hang on, let me try it this way. Our person Sam is going to be so excited when he sees this.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Maybe. All right. If it doesn't work this time, we will worry about the technical stuff and fix it for next time.
Fix it the next time. That's what we do.
That is truly what we do.
If you're going to be audio version only, that is that inside joke.
Yeah.
That you can only get if you're on the video version.
That's right.
So.
We've got a few more things we're going to talk about in a second podcast looking into the future. Jen's going to have to go.
Probably.
I'm sad. But busy things and ER people that need her to be, at least somewhat awake.
They're fine. I love my patients. Let's not go there.
Adaptation, accommodating. So, also, I don't think we can get to that. New Horizons. Okay, so, let's talk about the
You mean in future podcasts, there will be much things to go over and things to listen to, is what you're saying.
There will be more podcasts, is what we're telling you, because there's just way too much to talk about here.
It's like we need a whole series of podcasts to get over all the stuff that you all want to talk about.
It's true.
It's like you had that idea a while ago, and we're doing it now.
Right. There'll be another one for the future. So is there anything else about where we've come from that...
Not immediately off the top of my head. Not for the very short time we have left.
A minute and 34 seconds.
Yeah. No, I don't. I mean, surely the second that we decide that we're done, I will come up with 17 other things that I should say.
That's how that works.
But no, we are very much at a transition point, much like we were at that time. We're trying something new. You turned off the timer.
I did.
Oh my gosh. We are.
Didn't want to break your train of thought.
Which you have done, but that's okay. No, we were very much, at that time, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we were at a very large transition point. We were not sure if it was going to work. Sure enough, the first year, although it was very successful, the subsequent years were more successful and easier.
Yeah.
So I'm expecting those kind of challenges moving forward. I think we've already encountered some of them and overcome some of them.
Yeah.
It's always a good feeling, and this, you can use this with New Year's resolutions as well. It's always a good feeling to try something new and struggle with it just a little bit and then overcome it. And the trick is you have to stick with it long enough to overcome it, which, as anybody that's ever tried to do anything new ever knows, is very difficult to do.
Right.
But that is how you grow. You have to stick with something.
Absolutely. Stick-to-itiveness. Yeah?
Yeah, that's a word.
Stick-to-itiveness?
Yeah.
You've not heard that before?
No, I've heard you say that actually many times.
Me.
Yes.
It's a me word.
Yes, it is.
It is. Is there anything in your 3 years that you want to get in on this tail end of we'll call this the tail end portion of the old year?
I mean, I just
podcast.
enjoyed hearing the stories of it. I mean, I've been here for 3 years, but there was something before, and now I'm part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I like hearing these background stories of all the things that went on before.
Sometimes it's really enriching to hear
it is.
the narrative.
Absolutely.
And just to kind of reflect on when you see these things in the years that I have been here, that's why that was. I understand that now.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't get it then.
Yeah.
But I get it now more, and then
It's all
I'm glad just to be a part of it to go into the future or whatever we're doing. So that's all I got to say. I was going to say to infinity and beyond. I was getting up to that.
The future.
The future.
So how do you guys normally end this?
We just ramble and stuff.
We do. Now it's the end. So
It's the end.
it's the end.
Nice.
Until it's the beginning. So
It actually is the beginning.
it is.
So
It's always the beginning.
pretty much.
There you go.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.